Viewer, you know that we are normally joined by our resident political insiders on Tuesday, but this is no normal week given that we had this back-to-back debate schedule, so we have pushed this segment to today. And with the mosque debate still raging and the campaign trail heating up, we have more than enough to cover with the analysts who were kind enough to share their time and insights with us this evening. Bruce Jory is joining us from Albany. He is a former senior advisor to two former Democratic governors, and he is now with Corning Place Consulting and an adjunct professor, of political science at UAlbany. And Brendan Quinn is joining us from Buffalo. He's at the other end of the state, a former executive director to the state Republican Party, and he now works as a political consultant. Thank you both for your time, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So let's just get right into debate land. It was pretty interesting, and what we had first was the two Republicans who are squaring off to take on Senator Schumer, the senior senator of New York, Gary Bernstein, and Jay Townsend. Let's take a listen to their first clip.
Southern border. The Schumer-led Congress has had 1.5 years to put forward an immigration bill that secured our borders and protected the United States from that kind of invasion. I don't believe Arizona should be faulted for trying to fix a problem that the Schumer-led Congress has refused to address. And then to sue them for trying it was outrageous.
New Yorkers were at a crossroad. We have Senator Schumer, who's trading his political power against the rest of us so that he can stay in office. He's raising our taxes. He's passed laws or he's pursued policies on immigration that are contrary to our best interests. He's voted on financial bills that are against our interests. We need to organize ourselves to defeat him in November.
Okay, so what's striking here, actually, as you noticed, probably those are two different topics.
Yes.
In one case, we were talking about immigration with Jay Townsend. In the other case, sort of a general, I think part of Gary Bernstein's closing statement, if I'm not mistaken. And the reason we chose this was because there was a very big lack of Schumer bashing, which I found rather surprising. Bruce, what's your thought?
Well, these two candidates have an enormously tough task in front of them. A, they have to get known. B, they have to create some controversy. C, they have to find some issues that resonate against Chuck Schumer. They have not laid a base. They haven't been able to do advertising, get their message out. No one really knows who they are. The debate didn't really cut new terrain. And, you know, if you listen, for instance, the financial services issue, that bill is not unpopular with New Yorkers. The regulation of Wall Street is unpopular amongst Wall Street financiers and contributors. It's not unpopular with voters and citizens. So they have a tough road to hoe. Now, on the immigration question, very divisive. It tends to unite the Republican base. So that clip helped Townsend, I believe, within the Republican Party. But it's very divisive within New York City. Another issue puts them at odds with their most popular leader, really, which is Michael Bloomberg, even though not technically a registered Republican, still aligned with the Republican Party. So they have.
I beg to differ with you on that, but
what?
Go on.
You don't think Michael Bloomberg is the #1? Is the Republican Party?
He has not given money to the Senate Republicans for some time. But your point is taken.
I don't think the Republican Party is the Senate Republicans.
He has not given money to the Republican Party for some time. I know because I keep tabs on this. He used to be the major donor to them. But your point is well taken. This is a very divisive issue regarding immigration. Brendan, do you think that they did what they needed to do there in terms of defining themselves against Schumer on this particular issue?
They both had an opportunity to set themselves apart from each other for the Republican primary, and neither of them really did that well. I was there the other night and watched a good part of this, and I think following Bruce's point of getting themselves known and having something controversial to create an issue, none of them, between the two of them, put something out there to give them a talking point to be able to go forward out of that debate, to be able to say, here's why I'm the better candidate and why I can defeat Schumer. They have to define themselves better within the Republican Party and then start looking at how do they go and take that wedge issue against Chuck Schumer.
Well, to that end, actually, is a nice segue into the next clip that we have, because this was a clip and a moment when I thought that they were very much defining themselves vis-a-vis the Democrats.
Yes.
This one is about global warming. Let's take a look at that one.
That those that have proposed global warming over the last few years have conducted an enormous charade. I understand that there are problems with pollution in this world. There's problems with putting pollutants into the air. But I think it's pretty clear that solar flares and activity from the sun has had greater impact than man has.
I believe it's possible, but the scientists and the research community that had half this country convinced that it was a problem have largely been discredited by the emails that have made their way into newspapers and magazines. I wish I could believe them, but I can't believe anything that they say anymore, and I'm convinced that much of what they were trying to do was a hoax.
Okay, Brendan, so what did you see there, and did these guys do what they needed to do there? Because it seems to me that those statements are tailor-made to really try and appeal to the base, a very conservative base.
It's a conservative issue that they picked or answered in their question that you guys had put up there. But the number one issue facing everyone in New York State and most of the country right now is jobs, economy, taxes. And there wasn't much else in the discussion that evening to define them within that topic, and using that as a wedge issue to be able to go against Chuck Schumer.
I totally agree. And the way they should have handled that answer was not to cast aspersions on global warming at a time when there's so many different climatic events that are showing instability. What they should have gone is at jobs and says the Democrats' approach on the carbon tax would be a major problem, it would be a job killer. They didn't need to go to the base of get into a scientific discussion that neither of them really fully grasps and understands or appeared coherent in explaining. They should have gone at the jobs issue and said the Democrats' proposal is one that kills jobs. Instead, they went to the ideology and isolated themselves further to the right.
Interesting. Okay, here's another one regarding the Democrats and also most specifically the president.